can deal with Stedman. I'll be open. Okay.
That's right.
Right, and so, yeah, that's a good idea, and thank you for the clarification. Somebody else have their hand up?
It was me,
Oh,
but she answered the question basically to explain it.
right, and so that's the reason that, the example of you don't know Jack, that's where that came in. First of all, I just like, don't know Jack. But the second thing I like is that it relates in a very human way somebody's life, doesn't it? So it introduces you to that person's life, not to everything that they are. But in that example, it gives you a lot of information. You know a lot of stuff about Jack that people walking down the hall passing him would not know, right? I mean, God, when he was like 9, he lost his dad to cancer, seriously? And he had 2 younger siblings. He went through high school. He did all these wonderful things, and he was helpful at home. He didn't get into drugs. He's never been to jail. As far as we know, Jack don't even have a parking ticket. I don't know how that happened. But apparently, Jack is an ideal person, right? Now, all of us can't be like Jack. But we can certainly relate to Jack's experiences in life because we've all experienced loss. We're all sitting in a classroom trying to get our education. And all of us have some kind of hobby. Now, this question, how many of us, when you think about your hobbies, do your hobbies have anything to do with what you're going into? If yes, raise your hand. Higher than that, because I can't see. 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people? I think that was right, 5 people. So the rest of you have hobbies that there's nothing about your hobbies that relates to what you're going to go into as your passion for life. Ooh, I hear kind of. You said? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And so when you think about that, if we read further and we talked more about Jack, we would find out that Jack likes to go swimming, and I think he might even like surfing, and he loves working with children. Now, perhaps the reason that he loves working with children was he was forced to work with his younger siblings, right? In a different way. He understood, the nurturing of children and to watch them grow and to become. He got that at a very young age because of a tragedy, but he turned that into something that he could really work with. And he found, this is something that I'm really passionate about it. It comes natural to me. I love it. You will pay me for doing something I love to do anyway. Hey, I can handle that, right? I mean, don't we all want to be paid to do something that we think is pleasurable? How many of us want to get paid for something that we're good at? Right. How many of us want to get paid for something that we have some modicum of pleasure? We feel like we really accomplished something. We're happy at the end of the day. How many of us want that? Right. It's that Quan that Cuba Gooding Jr. was talking about in, what was it? Is it Jerry Maguire? Jerry Maguire? When he goes in and that poor guy has no clothes on and he's trying to help me, help you. I love that, right? In essence, Jack wants to do exactly what every pro football player, baseball player, every lawyer, every professor wants to do. So if I said, let me give you a slight taste of me, if you know nothing else about me for the entire semester, you don't understand anything about who I am or what I'm doing, the one thing that I want you to walk away with is that I'm extremely passionate about learning, and I don't think that learning should be a chore. I think it's the most natural thing to do in the world, and I think that you're going to do that for the rest of your life. Because at the moment that you stop learning new things, you get to be very bored, and you're probably going to be a boring person, right? Who wants to go out, everybody's like, dang, she boring? We all want, we don't want that, right? And so think about this. When you're introducing yourself to us through your character, think about the things that are positive in that character. And if there are negative things that, you know, like, we share a couple of things in common. Some are great, and some are not so great. Sometimes honey is good, sometimes honey is not so good. It's that balance. And it's all about who you are going to refer your audience to so that they can connect with you. One of the most important things that we can do as a speaker when we're in front of an audience is to create a relationship with our audience. Without that relationship, what happens? We're just a bunch of people sitting in a room looking at each other, aren't we? If you can't relate to me, if you can't learn from me, then I serve no purpose, right? It's the truth. I tell people all the time, at the point where it becomes a chore to go to work, you really need to find something else to do because you're no longer good at it. Why would I say that? Any guesses?
I guess work supposed to be fun, something you want to do.
Yeah, that's one. Another guess? That's a good one.
When you're good at something, you perform it when you have the enthusiasm to do it.
That's right. So when your enthusiasm is gone, why are you there? I mean, really, seriously, how many of us want to come home from work and like, man, I got to go back in there tomorrow? We all want to do that, don't we? I mean, that's how we know that we become true adults, is when the idea that I can't wait till I retire in another 30 years. Dang, I can't wait. Probably in the wrong field, right? Right. And so think about that. So in this example, as you read through and as you do your own outline, and we will work on the outline for about 30 minutes at the tail end of the class, think about what you want your audience to walk away with. And that's how you're going to do every speech that you will ever do for the rest of your life. If you don't know what your central idea is, if you don't know why you're giving the speech, are you actually giving a good speech? Are you actually giving a speech, really? I mean, you're just sort of talking to the wind, aren't you? You're saying words. There's nothing behind the words. There's no support behind the words. So it's very important that you know exactly why you're giving this speech. The other thing that you need to ask yourself is this. I always think of why now, why this audience, what do I want to get out of this? Because believe it or not, anytime somebody gets up to speak in front of an audience, they want to get something out of it too. Don't you? Let's be honest. How many, listen, you could be, I don't know, Oprah. And Oprah gets up and she gives a speech. Now Oprah's got money. Oprah's never going to have to worry about money. So money is no longer her goal. I'm not even sure that her money was actually her goal at the beginning, to be honest with you.
Right.
If you watch how she started off, because she came from nothing. Literally, she came from nothing. And so her goal, I think, was to be understood. Think about the Oprah Winfrey show, and she used to have all those people come on. You know, you go on Oprah, you're gonna cry. It was true. A lot of you are probably too young to have seen it completely from the beginning, right? Some of us are,
Otis? Right.
some of us remember when it first came on, right? And, the whole goal of her show was to give voice.
Okay.
It was to empower. She put all of her energy into empowering those people in her audience, didn't she?
Uh-huh.
And then, because she put that energy out there, what came back to her? Well, that too. She became empowered, didn't she? Oprah has a lot of power. I think much more than people realize. Because if she backs you, you will win. If you got the heart to do it, and you come up to her, and she's like, okay, that's good. You actually have something behind you. You're coming to do something. She'll back you. I think that's a wonderful legacy, don't you? So she's got her hands in all these different pots, not because that's how it started out, but she wanted people to have their own voice. She wanted them to realize their dreams. Because that's what she wanted for herself. So it was not completely altruistic. Positive outcome though, I would think. I admire. I don't know her personally, but I admire, her image. Think about that. Why are you giving this speech at this time to this audience? And what do you intend to get out of it? So for your narrative speech, your intention is to have your audience members, your class members, know more about you. And it's important that they do, because you guys will be together for the entire semester, won't you? It's important that your audience knows about you, too, because just like Jack, I would go to Jack and say, hey, Jack, you know what, you're not even in my pod, man, but you got time for a cup of coffee? Because I got a couple of questions. You said some stuff in class that made me think. You'd want to sit down and have a cup of coffee. Jack, wouldn't you? I mean, Jack sounds like an okay guy. Now, at the end of the speech, if we found out that Jack, he came to the class late because Jack was always late. Jack lied. Right? I mean, yeah, his dad died. He said that he helped his mama out. And he says that he's doing all this stuff, but every time you go to the beach where he's supposed to be volunteering, Jack is not there. Then you're like, Jack's like, hey man, what about that coffee? Nah, man, I gotta go. I'm gonna sit down with Sarah, because Sarah got it. Sarah shows up to class, she's on her first day, she ain't never late. And she has questions when she walks through the door. I'm like, oh man, no. Now, no one has time to have coffee with Jack. So there is a reason that we do what we do. There's a reason. And it's good to be able to recognize why we are acting in the manner that we are. Because our audience needs to know that, right? You need to know that I was looking at my van today going, I just switched out, it cost me $800, a computer board in my van. And the guy said, And the guy said, now you know that other board is about to go. I said, no, man. Get a board, baby. No. It'll last. I got my car today and I said, now warm. Why is the oil light on? Put some oil. Man, I don't need no oil. Maybe why is the engine light on? Why is the seatbelt light on? What's that dot? Why does the dashboard look weird? It's gone back 20 years. Whipped around the corner, came back. My youngest son said, why are you here? I thought you were going to work. I said, then I gotta go back. It's gotta get fixed. I said, there's probably nothing wrong. I said, no. Every light. I tried to lock the door. I got out of the car and all the lights were still on. I was like, the car's not even on. I just called your mom right away. I need a ride to work. Right? Now, what if I had just said, you know what? It ain't even worth it. It's cold out. I'm tired. Let me call these people and tell them to cancel class, because this is just getting on my nerves. I'm just so mad at this thing. Okay, what would my purpose be in doing that? There would be a reason that I would do something like that, wouldn't it? Now, if you could guess, if someone could just decide that they just didn't want to show up, because they got mad at their band, so they were going to take it out on their students, 9 times out of 10, should you be in that class with her? No.
like, oh, the class yesterday, we all showed up. Our teacher wasn't there. We didn't get an email, we didn't get a call, class was canceled. So I called her and I said, we all here, where are you? And she said, oh, I'm at the airport today. She said, you didn't email? I said, no, I was at email. I said, you didn't call me, and she said, I'm so ill and sick. I'll be there next week. And she said, thanks for calling and thanks for your concern. I'll see you next week. And I'm thinking, most professors, you know,
But she told us in the beginning, in the first day of class, I don't do emails. My phone number's on the syllabus. I do phone calls. Well, why
but she didn't
call
call.
us?
Can I get my
She
She didn't call. I know she did. I was so mad.
And she shall remain nameless in this class, okay?
Yeah.
But understanding that motivation, right? Understanding why you do what you do as a speaker is really important because your audience can tell, can't they? Now, if Oprah had come out and was like, you know what, we're gonna get this started because I'm about that money. How many people would have watched that show? They'd have been like, oh, something's wrong with her, right? Every 10 seconds. Okay. Yeah, but how much you paying me? Oprah, we don't want to hear about your contract negotiations. But we do that now, right? You hear about all kinds of stuff. About people in television shows and that Honey Boo Boo thing that went on. Yeah. And you go, why? Right? Because even though the mom didn't come out immediately and fix things, everyone began to then wonder, okay, are you actually a good person? I mean, should we even be watching your show? What's going on? Why are you even doing the show? It's about your daughter, right? Is it her money or is it your money? Is it about relationships? We don't know. I actually never watched the show. I just heard a word on the news, right? But when you think about why people do what they do, when you think about Jackie, an example, when you think about Winnie the Pooh and his honey, all of those things take precedence. Now, we're going to take a break in about 4 minutes. It's extremely important. It's extremely important to learn how to do this outline correctly, which is why we're spending so much doggone time. The reason it's important is because as your subject matter becomes more complex, your outlines will become more complex. And if you don't know how to use this basic outline form, you'll get lost. You can easily get lost in information. You can get lost in all kinds of things. So if we didn't understand why we were doing it, what our central idea was, what our intent was behind it, then could we really construct a coherent speech?
No.
It would be all over the place, wouldn't it? And so it's extremely important. And I'm doing, we're spending a lot of time on it today because your first speech is next week.
In front of the class?
Now, we do know that last week, every class that we meet is really 2 classes. And so we're covering enough information each class period for 2 classes. And so even though it seems like it's really, really soon, it's always going to be expedited when you take a 1-day-a-week class. Right? Which is why it's extremely important that you pay attention to that course calendar. That's, the Bible for this class. Because that's not going to change very much at all. So you should never get upset or wonder when things are due, because the instructions in the syllabus and on the course calendar are crystal clear. If you have questions, of course, you can always ask me, and I will try to get to you as soon as possible. For some reason, my emails did not forward from my OCC email, which is why I was delayed this time. But I think I can correct that. I'm not sure. All right, So when we come back, we're going to talk about using presentational aids and how to really come up with something that's going to va-va-voom your audience. Anybody in here know Prezi? Don't worry about it. We'll talk about that too. So we're going to take a break and come back in 7 minutes.